How's it going, guys? My name's Earl here. What I have here is really one of the last videos for my 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. I've been milking this computer for the past year because this is actually one of the most viewed laptops of all time on my YouTube channel. Today is honestly one of those sad days where the time has come to where this is officially obsolete. No, not really. Long story short, I got this over a year ago, and at that time, I just wanted something that is quite better than my Razer Blade, which was causing me some instability issues and this and that and lack of memory and whatnot without spending too much money. And this came out in my mind because one, I love the design of these generations with the touch bar era MacBook. And two, this thing is really maxed out to the brim. Now, to give you guys some context, a lot of these 16-inch MacBooks normally would just come with an i7, 16 gigabytes of memory, and even a base 256 gigabyte, whatever. This specific MacBook that I have here is a complete nutshell. This packs an i9 8-core processor. It has 64 gigabytes of memory, which in today's world is quite insane because that would easily be $900 right there. I hope that's not going to be the case because I do love to get some sort of a freaking PC. And unfortunately, at this moment, if you want to get a 64 gigabyte DDR5, yeah, it'll run you so much money. It is honestly unbelievable. And of course, as an editor, I need 64 gigabytes of memory for my 4K footage. Anyway, moving on. This has the upgraded 5600M Radeon graphics, which at that time was, I believe, a $600 option on top of the freaking MacBook itself, which was ridiculous. It has 8 gigabytes of HBM2 graphics, which is equivalent to an RTX 2060. So not bad, not great, but it does the job. I've played a couple of games on this, GTA 5, Borderlands 3, you name it, it's pretty good. However, of course, we have to get into the thermals later, which that'll be quite a bit of an issue. Another thing with this is that it has a terabyte of storage. Honestly, that's the only bad part about this computer, in my personal opinion, is that lack of storage. Yes, people might say 1 terabyte storage is a lot. Well, not for me. And as you can see, if you take a look at my desk setup, we are running 2 4K monitors right here. So all in all, this is running 3 monitors simultaneously at 4K, 2 4Ks and 1 built-in display. This is my daily computer. And you guys might be shocked. There's an M5 MacBook Pro, or there's an M4 even, for a lesser price. I don't really care because this is one of my favorite MacBooks of all time. And that being is because I can run Boot Camp. I can run Windows natively. And as you can see, I'm able to run pretty much Windows 11 with full support, with full usage of that memory. Yeah, you could say I could just get a Windows laptop, which honestly is the easiest solution, or even build a PC at this moment. However, I digress. This is the Divoom Mini 2 speaker. One of my highlights for my desk this past week. Right out of the box, the Mini 2 doesn't really look like your traditional Bluetooth speaker. It looks more like a retro piece from the 1970s, and that is one of my favorites. Really cool design, and it really pops right out of my desk. Not only that, it features a 1.77-inch display, and that display is quite useful. You're not really locked into static images. Through the app, you can build your own pixel art, you can run animations, browse other millions of pixel artists. Number 2, one of my favorite parts of this Bluetooth speaker is the audio. Do not let the retro aesthetic fool you. It features a 5-watt full-range speaker, which is really the exact sweet spot for small rooms like mine. It's clear, the bass is surprisingly good, despite disappointing. It also has seamless connectivity, you have options. You have Bluetooth 5.3, you have USB-C, and of course, how can we forget the micro SD card, which you can use it also for photo gallery functions. But I think the best function for this has to be the functional toolkit. This is where the Mini 2 transitions from just being a cool mini toy Bluetooth speaker to an actual productivity tool. This is where you are deep in the edit, or if you're pushing through late at night, the Mini 2 acts as your tiny desk assistant. It has focus tools. It has a built-in Pomodoro focus timer to keep your work sessions disciplined. It has atmosphere, so you can add noise in the background to help you focus. Rain, thunder, wind, cars, you name it. And of course, it handles daily organizations. It handles alarms, on-screen reminders, even visual lyrics and EQ graphics that will make those sound visible. Overall, final verdict, the Mini 2 is such an absolute win. It is the definition of a high-value decor on your desk. You get a crystal clear 5-watt speaker, a DIY pixel canvas, and a bunch of focus tools to wrap it in a premium retro 1970s computer beige design. If you are looking to elevate your setup, protect your piece with some white noise, and inject some raw personality in your workspace, the Mini 2 is highly recommended. And I love the way these MacBooks always have looked. And you know, they're very thin, the display is good, the speakers are outstanding even half a decade later. And the touch bar, how can we forget about that? That is surprisingly useful even on Windows Boot Camp. You know, the past 5-6 years of computing, yes, the processing power has really increased a lot. And yes, graphical performance as well. However, don't forget that a lot of these programs, I mean, if you take a look at an iPhone 11, it's still running iOS 27. To give you some perspective of that, I would say that's very similar experience to this. Yes, it runs very hot. That's why I have a cooler right here. And yes, that's why I have a thermal mod. Link will be down in the description if you want to watch that. Yes, battery life is absolutely garbage compared to the M-chip MacBooks, with it being only lasting to me around like 4 to 5 hours, using Windows, of course. If you can really let go of those things and just use this as the way it is and don't expect a lot of things from it, you could surprisingly edit, you could surprisingly use this for a lot of great scenarios, like watching movies. Movies on this is really good. Despite not being a 120 Hz display, it is still crisp. The speaker, again, going back to it, one of the best. And of course, how could we forget about that Magic Keyboard, which they reintroduced after all those butterfly issues. When it comes to pricing, that's where this really comes into play. Because when it comes to pricing, yeah, you can get an M4 MacBook for $700. Run this thing laps around performance-wise. And yeah, you'll notice a lot of performance degradations comparing it to an Intel machine like this one. And yes, now that this doesn't have any support for Golden Gate, Mac OS, yeah, that will be quite a bit of an issue later on. So this MacBook would probably be still good for another year or two. Okay, so this is how I use this 2019 16-inch MacBook. We have two displays right here. The top is mostly for my Spotify. So, you know, I normally go up here, check some music, check my task manager. Editing on this is honestly not a bad experience. One of the only issues I have when it comes to editing Ultra HD or 3840 by 2160, aka 4K, is sometimes it does have hiccups. Normally, there's no hiccups when it comes to 24 FPS or 30 FPS files. The only time you start to see hiccups are at 60 FPS, which again, at that point, you might as well just use proxies, right? But where this does struggle a lot is using or editing it with 120 FPS 4K videos. And normally what I like doing when it comes to editing is that the MacBook, despite being several years old by now, actually still has one of the best displays that you can find on a laptop. So it's very accurate, it's P3 certified. Now this is running full 4K. Little stutters here and there because this is running on the backup hard drive on this footage right here. But, you know, once it is actually on the SSD itself, it's pretty quick. Little story of this Minecraft world is that my cousin from Singapore came here and we ended up playing a lot of Minecraft hours. Good times. And let's go ahead and check out the view. And you can see we are running around 130 FPS on this. And I believe the render distance is as high as it can. So if you go ahead and go to video settings, yep, render distance is at 23. Let's rank it up to 32 chunks. And not a difference in sight. That is really one of the best parts about this computer is that it can do some gaming. I have no problems playing Borderlands or playing one of those games that aren't too intensive, or even just play at lower settings. Now, if you take a look at this closely, the Radeon software, if you go ahead and check for updates, yeah, it is quite a bit outdated already. It's almost been a year since the last Radeon software version 21, 30, 45, 22, released on 6/11/2025. And we're already in July, so it's been practically, quote unquote, over a year last time this had a graphics upgrade. And eventually, when time comes next year and the year after that, if you need a software that requires the newest graphics or the latest support, that will be quite a bit of a problem. As you can see, again, 5600M, 8 gigabytes of HBM2 memory. We have the i9-9980HK, which was the highest optioned at that time. And how can we forget that glorious memory right there, which we need more than ever in today's world. 2026 has been crazy with memory. If you really just bring this down to the basics, this computer, honestly, is plenty usable for what it offers. Like, in my personal opinion, people are blowing it out of proportion and these computers are not usable, because they are. And don't get me wrong, yes, people now have a lot of expectations from Apple. And at that time, this wasn't really necessarily the best bang for the buck wise, and of course reliability wise, which also has its own certain aspects of that. But overall, in my usage of this computer, it's been pretty good. Yes, it's not the fastest thing in the world, and yes, it's not gonna have any support anytime soon from Apple anymore, aside from security updates with macOS Tahoe. Overall, using this as a machine for certain things like running boot camp is perfectly fine. Now, if this supports Windows 12, most likely not, but Windows 11 at this moment has been pretty good. This is a pretty good machine, even in 2026. However, you should really put some perspectives into buying other computers from Apple, like the M1 Macbook Pro, which is surprisingly still pretty good. Albeit, in today's world, I recommend at least 16 gigabytes of memory. If you have any 8 gigabytes model of computers, it's not going to be enough, especially with AI taking over and whatnot. That's why we're having chip shortage with memory. You need to have at least minimum 16 gigabytes. The more the merrier, of course, and the more the better. But aside from that, this is just a little bit of an update of the 2019 MacBook Pro. Is it worth it buying in 2026? Yes and no. Yes, if you just want to mess around and if you just use it for day-to-day daily tasks. And yes, if you want to use it as a desk machine. But once you start using this as a portable machine, that's when things start to go downhill a little bit. And that's what you're going to need to expect when it comes to Intel chip era of laptops like this one right here from Apple. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just a quick update on this because I know a lot of you guys have been asking how my usage of this computer has been. Overall, no complaints as long as I have my expectations set.